Juan Soto's bat has been like a bumper crop in a fallow field. The Mets have struggled all year with the long ball, but it seems like every night Juan is there to hit a ball a long way. New York, what a beautiful day today. Start of a nice weekend after Memorial Day weekend. It was kind of a washout. Take the train from Grand Central and come on out to Citi Field, where the flowers are blooming. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. Friday Night Baseball on Pix 11. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets open a 3-game series against the Miami Marlins. What Juan Soto is doing is rather extraordinary. With no protection around him in the lineup, Soto's hit 8 home runs in the last 12 games for a team that is dead last in the major leagues in slugging percentage. He truly has been a one-man show.
You know, Gary, it hasn't been since Jacob deGrom was here that you expected every fifth day some greatness, some history. But now with Soto, when he's in the lineup, he seems like every night he's going to do something extraordinary. A lot of times we always put on our show guys with black and white pictures that have done great things over the history of the game. Well, we get to watch it simply every single night. This is a young man that someday might be one of the top 3 left-handed hitters that ever played.
And Soto and the Mets will have a big task tonight because they face Max Meyer for a second straight time. Last weekend in Miami, he was almost unhittable.
So impressive. We've seen him at his worst. We've seen him at his best. But this year, he seems to have taken it to another level. 5-0, ERA 2.52. But more importantly, we talk a lot about the breaking balls of young pitchers around the league. I don't think anyone has a better one, and no one throws it harder than Max Meyer. His sweeper was on full display in his last start against the Mets.
The only hit he allowed was a 62-mile-an-hour ground ball through a vacated spot in the infield by Mark Vientos. And so Freddie Peralta, as he was last Saturday, will be on the other side from Meyer. Freddie had an unusual start against the Marlins. It was strange because the Marlins are not a good fastball hitting team, and yet Peralta threw one of the lowest percentage of fastballs he's thrown all year.
You know, it's hard to understand why, but sometimes you come out of that bullpen and you just don't feel like you have a good fastball. Indeed, though, he went 7 innings. That's a rarity for Freddie Peralta. The 4 runs will probably have to be better tonight against Meyer.
Gave up a couple of home runs to Liam Hicks in that game, so that'll be a task for Peralta tonight. It's the Mets and the Marlins opening the weekend at Citi Field. All the action coming your way on Pix 11.
Summers.
New York Mets baseball on Pix 11 is brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design. This is Buick now. See your local dealer. By Empire City Casino. More play, more perks. Earn it all here with MGM Rewards. Ride the thrill. By Stop and Shop. Good things are in store. And by Cure Auto Insurance, named one of America's best insurance companies by Forbes. Visit Cure.com today and save. From the pitch to the diamond, Soccer Style is coming to Citi Field. The first 15,000 fans of the game June 11th will receive a Mets soccer jersey, compliments of Coca-Cola. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/tickets. Themes of the game brought to you by Bet365.
Underlying message, central idea, recurring concept of work. Those are other synonyms for themes of the game because we've already given them to you in the open.
Recurring concepts of work. That's outstanding. So the verbiage has begun. Now the baseball can resume. First pitch coming right up. Both teams. Leiter went to a league championship series as a Met. Threw a no-hitter as a Marlin. With Floyd. One of the best of all time.
Great. My man.
Yeah, Jose would just so forget about his Marlins days.
The short and the long of it.
Well, Mike Piazza was a Marlin for 6 days.
I know about being with a team for about 6 days.
Well, last weekend was a complete washout for the Mets. They scored 2 runs on 11 hits total in the 3 games, capped by the Heriberto Hernandez walk-off grand slam against Devin Williams last Sunday. Mets were looking for a little payback on their home field this week. The Marlins are only 8-16 on the road this year. Friday Freddy
In the black jersey.
You know, that means something. You know, the College World Series countdown has just begun with the regionals. The Friday pitcher in college baseball is the guy.
The guy, always.
And with a wiggle. Marlins lineup brought to you by Toyota. Otto Lopez continues to lead the major leagues in batting. And Xavier Edwards isn't too far behind. Those 3 at the top of the order have been magnificent. Liam Hicks is having a career season in just his 2nd year in the big leagues.
Well, Freddie Peralta's numbers, as you can see, have been really good, but I don't think he's hit his stride. Remember, coming off his best season in the major leagues last year with the Brewers. And I'm going to read the Carshield Mets defense because one of their stars is Howard Johnson. And you look at the line, Luis Torrens behind the plate. He's thrown out 7 of 18. A lot of speed on this Marlins team. And I want to point out Ewing and Benj. In the last game we saw on Wednesday, we really saw those 2 and how their speed and how much ground they can cover in the outfield.
Xavier Edwards getting set to lead things off for the Marlins, who after they disposed of the Mets last weekend went to Toronto and lost 2 of 3, which was a little disappointing for the Marlins Canadian contingent.
That's right.
They have 3 players who played for the Canadian WBC team, Liam Hicks and Owen Casey, but also Otto Lopez, who spent a lot of his youth living in Montreal, qualified as a Canadian WBCer.
If we ended the season today, the Blue Jays would be in the postseason. 1 game under 500, they would make the wild card.
Well, Seattle would be in 1 game under 500 as the AL West champions. Yeah, the NL has really dominated the American League this year in the interleague play. The Toronto series win over the Marlins notwithstanding. So here is Edwards, the switch hitter, who's hitting over 300 from both sides of the plate. 4th in the National League in on-base percentage as play begins tonight. Beatty comes in on the grass at 3rd. Peralta's first pitch is a fastball high, and we're underway. Edwards, who was born in New York, moved to Florida when he was 8. He moved to Florida because his sister was a tennis player, and they moved to Florida so she could get better coaching down here. And Edwards played some tennis along the way, but found his niche in baseball. And he pulls one foul.
I think the great Coco Gauff did the same thing, moved to Florida at a young age.
The top 2 guys in this batting order, Edwards and Hicks, have about the same number of walks as strikeouts this year. Edwards 28 walks, 28 strikeouts. Hicks 18 walks, 19 strikeouts. You just don't see too many players like that anymore.
And then you add Hicks 11 home runs. That really is impressive.
I mean, Juan Soto most years will have more walks than strikeouts, but very few big league players do. Clayton McCullough took a team that won 63 games 2 years ago. They won 79 last year. They have their sights set on bigger things this year. Edwards fouls away a fastball, but they took a big blow today when they put a Yuri Perez, the 6'8" right-hander who looked so good against the Mets last weekend, on the injured list with a groin injury, and he's expected to miss 2 months.
Said he might have hurt his groin while he was stretching in the dugout.
2-2 coming, and a ground ball back to Peralta, goes down to snag it, and there's the first out of the night. Now Liam Hicks, who had a couple of home runs against Peralta last Saturday.
Yeah, and he hit one breaking ball that was over the middle of the plate, just out of the outstretched arms of Benj, and then a fastball in. Good spot by Peralta, but Hicks got to it.
It was very noticeable in that first at bat. Peralta throwing all fastballs to Xavier Edwards. And he starts Hicks with a fastball as well. What we were talking about in the open tonight. The Marlins are dead last in the majors in their OPS against fastballs, and they're first in the majors in their OPS against breaking balls. So another fastball, Semi into his left, gets to it, and throws out Hicks 2 away.
It's almost a reverse split, right, for hitters. I mean, the fastball is usually the pitch that has the largest slug, largest numbers.
I'm sure Justin Willard and Luis Torrens and Freddie Peralta all put their heads together after that last start and before this one, and can certainly expect to see a more fastball heavy Freddie tonight. Here's Otto Lopez hitting .342 to lead the major leagues. He's not a guy who walks a lot, but he gets hits. 75 hits already this year through the Marlins' first 57 games.
Real crouched stance. I was thinking to myself, not much of a strike zone, but that doesn't count anymore.
Nope. It's what is it, 27% of your height at the bottom of the zone, 53.5% at the top of the zone. And everybody was measured at the same time of day in spring training this year. Chop foul off his foot because they say that you shrink a little bit as the day goes along.
The funniest part about it is that a lot of guys who had 6'2" in their baseball card ended up being 5'11" and 6 feet. They lost a couple of inches, which happens a lot. A lot of guys are.
There were a few guys who gained some inches, and that was shocking. 1-2 to Lopez with 2 out and nobody on. Peralta, in his first start of the year on opening day against the Pirates, gave up a 2-run homer to Brandon Lau in the first inning. Those are the only 2 first-inning runs that Freddie's allowed this season. Trying to keep that string intact against Lopez with 2 out and nobody on. He just got a piece of that changeup to stay in the at-bat. Peralta threw a season-high 108 pitches in that start last Saturday. They let him go a little further because the Mets bullpen was stretched and because they knew he'd get an extra day before this start with the off day yesterday. Whip pan. 2-2 coming. And he just missed inside with the sinker, and it's 3-2. Lopez 2 for 11 in his career against Peralta. He has not fared well against the Marlins in his career. This is his 13th appearance, his 10th start against Miami. And Lopez goes down to the high fastball, and Peralta's got himself a 1-2-3 opening inning. Mets come to bat against Max Meyer with no score. Soto has been the show. Mets lineup brought to you by the New York Lottery. He'll hit third behind Benj and Bichette. Jared Young hits cleanup tonight. First pitch, Carson Benj lifts one out to left center field, and Jacob Marcy goes back to the edge of the track to get it. 1 pitch and 1 retired. Jared Young batting cleanup for the first time since coming back from the injured list, and why not?
If I was Benj, I'd keep the ball away from Marcy. That's just my opinion.
He had 2 to the fence that Marcy grabbed with terrific catches in Miami.
Maxwell Thomas, one of the hardest things to do is face a team back-to-back, but it's win day when he pitches for the Marlins. 8-3 in his 11 starts.
Well, Bichette takes a strike. So Meyer in May has a 1.76 ERA. Every other Marlins starter in May, 6.79. And losing Yuri Perez certainly does not help that equation. So they've got to win on the days Meyer pitches. 27 years old, came up in 2022, made 2 starts before going down with Tommy John surgery. Didn't come back until August of 24. Struggled down the stretch that year. Came back last year made 11 starts before he hurt his hip, and he had to have hip surgery in early June and missed the rest of last season. So here he is at age 27. This is only his 37th major league start, and off to a great beginning this year.
For the Marlins, you're hoping that he can stay healthy so you can see what he can deliver, because his stuff, fastball at around 94, 95, and wicked breaking stuff could take him a long way. Minnesota, hockey player and baseball as a kid.
Yeah, should have a lot in the tank, which is what they say about those cold weather pitchers who didn't throw a lot of innings as a kid.
Get a little hardier when you're from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I talked to Zach Thornton the other day before the Mets sent him down. He was born in Minnesota. Line the other way by Bichette. He's got himself a one-out hit. So the first two batters for the Mets making solid contact against Meyer. Bichette is aboard, now 5 for 12 on this homestand.
When he gets the 2 strikes, he just does not give away hitting the ball to right field on a breaking pitch down. A pretty good pitch by Meyer, but Bichette was up to it, and that was a linear to right field. Side swing, waits to the last minute, almost hits the ball beginning of the plate. And he's got himself another base hit.
So now Soto just raging hot right now. He had a first inning home run on Wednesday, his 12th of the year, his 8th in the last 12 games. Wrapped around a 2-game stretch where he had to sit Sunday and Monday, last game of the Marlins series, first game of the Red series, because he was ill. Came right back and started hitting home runs again. Takes a sweeper outside, and it's a ball and a strike. That sweeper is the pitch that gave the Mets fits in Miami. The Mets went 0 for 10 against it. And he is pitching very carefully to Soto, now behind 3-0 with Jared Young on deck.
Meyer did face Soto in Miami, a walk in his first at bat and 2 ground balls. One outstanding play by Lopez up the middle.
And Meyer's got to be careful here on 3-0. You know, one is inclined to swing if he has a pitch to hit. And that was a quality pitch, and he takes it for a strike, 3-1. That's Meyer, the 3rd overall pick in the 2020 draft. Spencer Torkelson went number 1 to Detroit. Heston Kjerstad went number 2 to Baltimore. That's ball 4, and so Soto's on with the walk. And the Mets have 2 on for Jared Young.
The Marlins defense brought to you by Lexus. Joe Mack, as we saw his defense, especially throwing the ball in Miami, outstanding. Snoha gets the start at third base. Norby's the DH. Hicks at first. Hicks also caught in that series in Miami.
So here's Young, 1 for 3 since coming back from the injured list. Just a month and a half after tearing a meniscus. And he takes fastball for a strike from Meyer. So for Jared, this is only his 8th starting assignment of the year. And with all the folks that the Mets have on the sidelines, he becomes a very important piece for the Mets. Can play first base in the outfield. He's DHing tonight. And sweeper at his feet, and it's 1-1.
Here we are, May 29th, and Young is the cleanup hitter, and you can have no argument with it. Like, he belongs there with the way the roster is right now.
A.J. Ewing's behind him, and then Mark Vientos. It stays high, 2 balls and a strike, and Meyer, at least in the first inning, not looking nearly as sharp as he did last Saturday.
Well, when he missed in the first inning with his breaking ball last start, they all were down. Every miss now has been up in the strike zone with that sweeper.
Gave up a 2-strike hit to Bichette. He's been the best pitcher in baseball at putting away people at 2 strikes. And Young pops one up behind the plate. Mack gives a look, but that'll be back in the crowd, 2-2. And it wasn't just the game against the Mets. He also blanked the Braves for 6 innings in his start prior. So he's on a roll. Well, there are a lot of pitchers having great seasons. I mean, he's got a 1.76 ERA in May. He won't even finish in the top 5 in pitcher of the month. 2-2. And Young just got a piece of that slider.
The game has completely changed for the starting pitchers, certainly. But this is like their 1968 for them.
Well, in the major leagues so far this year, teams are averaging just a shade over 8 hits per game. It's the lowest since 1968. 2-2. And that's away. Try to slider to backdoor it. Missed with it. 3-2. And the 240 overall batting average in baseball, the only year lower in the last 117 years was 1968. So it's a pitcher's era right now. 3-2 to Young with A.J. Ewing on deck. And Jared lifts one foul. This is a lineup construction that earlier in the season Carlos Mendoza would have avoided, putting Soto, Young, and Ewing back-to-back 3 left-hand hitters. But at this point, he's just trying to bunch his best hitters as much at the top of the lineup as he can. Bichette at second, Soto at first. 20th pitch of the inning now for Meyer. And he misses high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So he's missed up with several of those sweepers in this inning. We didn't see that at all in Miami.
Every time he threw a fastball except for first pitch, Young was swinging. He was taking the breaking pitches. Like you said, they were way out of the strike zone. I'm surprised he's not getting a visit from the pitching coach right now. Probably, seems to me, it has to be something mechanical that innately he would know. But they're going to trust Meyer. He's been on a roll. Don't bother him.
And now A.J. Ewing, who went 0 for 3 against Meyer last weekend. Just his 16th big league start. The Marlins are going to bring the infield in. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Ewing takes a sweeper for a strike, 0-1. I mean, they figure they can't double up Ewing because he's so fast, but to bring the infield in with the bases loaded in the first inning, it's inviting trouble. Well, he's gotten that breaking ball over twice in a row, and now it's 0-2.
Well, they're anticipating soft contact off their good pitchers, the 2 walks that have gotten them in trouble. He struck out Ewing in Miami on that back foot slider. Let's see if he goes to that now.
And Ewing hits one up the middle for a base hit right past the drawn-in infield. Bichette is in, Soto right behind him. A.J. Ewing drives in a pair, and the Mets jump out to a 2-0 lead. You play with fire when you bring the infield in this early in the game, and Ewing made them pay.
You work so hard to get to the 0-2. You cannot make a mistake like that over the middle of the plate with kind of a hanging breaking ball. That's the 3rd straight breaking ball he threw to Ewing. By the time he got to that 3rd one, it was not a good one. He handled it.
So now the Mets have it set up for a bigger inning. 1st and 3rd, still only 1 out, and Mark Vientos coming up. Ewing is 5th and 6th RBIs. Now the infield's coming in for Vientos. Now, that I don't understand at all. Vientos is one of the slower runners in the game. You play your infield back, you turn a double play, you get out of the inning.
I'm with you 100%.
Vientos went 1 for 10 in the series against the Reds. He had the lone hit against Meyer in the first meeting last Saturday. Snuck a slow ground ball through the right side, and they're giving him that hole again. There goes Ewing, and Vientos fouls it off.
Boy, he had a huge jump, but the hanging breaking ball, Vientos had to jump all over it. Sometimes, Gary, you run on the pitcher's moves. Sometimes maybe the inadequacies of the catcher. Sometimes you run because you know a breaking pitch is coming.
Meyer again ahead 0-2. And Vientos punches one, and back goes Edwards and makes the catch. Almost got it over Edwards' head since he was playing in, but Vientos is retired for the second out.
Well, I can't tell you how good of a play that is. When you're playing in as an infielder, your first movement is trying to be aggressive to come in for the ball. So to reverse it and sprint back at a full sprint and make this play, quite impressive by Xavier Edwards.
So that's a big second out for Meyer. Now Brett Beatty with runners at first and third. The infield can drop back, and he takes a changeup outside for ball one. Beatty went 1 for 8 in the just completed series against the Reds. Young is at third, Ewing at first. Ewing edging away but not running, and Beatty swings and misses at a high breaking ball, 1-1. Well, the Mets scored 2 runs in 3 games in Miami last weekend. They've scored 2 runs in the first inning tonight. Beatty looking for more. Ewing again edging away but not running, and it's up and away, 2 balls and a strike.
I think for the young fast players of the Mets, a lot of thrown out, caught stealing has made them a little more conservative right now.
Ewing's stolen 3, but he's also been caught 3 times, including once by Mack last weekend. Well, Meyer threw 95 pitches over 7 innings against the Mets last Saturday. He's about to throw his 30th pitch of this inning. Two and 1 to Beatty, batting 7th in the order. Marcus Semien on deck, and he got picked off. Let's see if Young breaks for the plate. Now the throw goes back to third, and Young gets in safely. Hicks was unsure. Young was not that far down the line, but Hicks threw behind him. It'll be a stolen base for Ewing, and Young gets back to third safely.
You were talking about college baseball. This is a play they use sometimes in college baseball. He did get caught and he slipped, but he went halfway, and Hicks made the decision not to complete the pickle with Ewing, but try to pick off Young at third.
Hicks has not played a lot of first base. He's mostly a catcher. But that's one of the hardest plays for a first baseman to make. Do you get the guy in the rundown? Do you look at the guy at third? How do you parse that entire situation? So now 2 in scoring position for Beatty with a 2-1 count. And Brett pulls one in the whole base hit. In to score is Young. Here comes Ewing. The throw by Casey, not in time. Brett Beatty drives in a pair, and it's 4-0 New York in the first. RBIs number 22 and 23 for Beatty, so the stolen base provides an extra run.
The breaking ball bedeviled the Mets in that first game, and now secondary pitches have been hit by the 2 left-handers, Ewing and Beatty, for two-run singles. 4-0 Mets.
Marcus Semien takes a slider for a strike. Coming into the night, hitters were hitting 143 against Max Meyer with runners in scoring position, but Ewing and Beatty both coming through with 2-run singles to give the Mets an early bulge. Sinker misses, and it's 1-1 to Semien. A very different kind of a night for Max Meyer so far.
He's shaking his head. Yeah.
Semien blasts one out to right center. Back goes Casey. On the warning track, he makes the catch, and that retires the side. Casey didn't know how many out there were. Mets get 4 runs and lead it 4-0 after 1. Brought to you by your local Ford stores. Paul Skeens turns 24 today. Took the loss yesterday against the Cubs despite striking out 10 and giving up just 1 earned run.
See, he turns 24 today. I read a cool stat. Babe Ruth, before he turned 24, 463 Ks, 2.13 ERA. Skeens, before he turned 24, 461 Ks, 2.12.
Does that mean Skeens going to go somewhere and hit home
He's
run?
going to start hitting. He did hit in college.
Freddie Peralta supplied with a 4-0 lead. Kyle Stowers leads off in the second for the Marlins. Takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Peralta threw all fastballs and changeups in the first inning and worked a 1-2-3 with 2 ground balls and a strikeout. Stowers still trying to get his season untracked after a big year for Miami last year. Good slider by Peralta. First breaking ball he's thrown. It's 1-2. Stowers has a home run on his ledger against Peralta. 1 for 5 against him. And he pops this one up, coming back to Renz for a look, but that's out of play. Stowers, then Jacob Marcy and Connor Norby for Miami in the second. And the curveball, did he go? He did not. Held the swing in time, and it's 2-2. The Mets putting up 4 runs in support of Peralta in the first inning, their biggest first inning since opening day, when they scored 5 against the aforementioned Paul Skeens. There's your umpiring crew with every Ryan except for Nolan. Swing and a miss, and Stowers is down. Second strikeout for Peralta. Speaking of Nolan Ryan, and we're going to look at Jacob Marcy first and some of his exploits from last weekend. There is a new biography of Nolan Ryan out, written by Tim Brown, who is one of the great sports writers of our time, and I cannot wait to read it.
Me too. I mean, you're right about Tim Brown, West Coast Tim Brown. He's great.
Marcy just 2 hits in his last 26 at bats, but he continues to shine defensively. Hits this one out to left, chasing Soto back to the warning track, and one makes the catch right before he hits the wall. Let's give some love to Juan's defense.
Boy.
Talked about Benj and Ewing.
He made it look easy, Gary. That was not an easy play. That ball had a lot of carry, but he timed it beautifully and then turns his back so he doesn't pinch his shoulder 100% into that wall. Takes a lot of it on his back, his hip. He's so strong.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Connor Norby, the DH.
I've not seen Nolan Ryan out a lot, like in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be great to, read about coming from Texas and, the New York time, of his career.
He spent, 5.5 years with the Mets before they dealt him to the Angels, and they kept waiting for that moment when he would become a more efficient pitcher and not walk the ballpark, and they got tired of waiting, and the Angels and everybody else after that got the benefit.
Well, they probably kept comparing him to the franchise as well. That didn't help.
1-2 coming to Norby, and the slider off the plate. 2-2. Well, the Mets don't get to the World Series in 1969 without Nolan Ryan and his exploits against the Braves in the League Championship Series. Swing and a miss. Got him with the breaking ball. So Peralta's retired the first 6, 3 of them via the strikeout. 4-0 Mets. Brought to you by New York Presbyterian. Kodai Senga made his second rehab start last night. Didn't go particularly well, but he came out of it healthy, and that's the first consideration, coming back from a back issue. But as David Stearns said today, or I guess it was Carlos Mendoza said today, it's great that he's healthy. Now we have to start seeing some results.
Yeah.
Had a lot of 3-ball counts in that outing last night.
39 balls, 41 strikes. That's no good.
So the Mets rotation continues to be in a little bit of flux. Luis Torrens leading off the home second. They've got the 3 established starters right now in this series, with Peralta tonight, Christian Scott tomorrow, and Nolan McLean on Sunday. For the moment, David Peterson has been shuttled to the bullpen after a rough outing against the Reds. And so On Monday, it would appear as though Sean Manaea is going to take that bulk role, whether as a starter or behind an opener, and then Jonah Tong the same on Tuesday.
Well, he's thrown the ball, Manaea, much better the last couple of times on the mound, so he gets a shot.
Let's continue to improvise as far as their rotation is concerned since the loss of Clay Holmes. And it's a little easier to do this week because you had the off day yesterday, and then after they play 6 straight, they have another off day next Thursday to move some things around. Torrens lifts one out to right, and Casey is right there. 1 out.
I know you were saying that that's the most runs the Mets have scored since opening day, but that was a beautiful offensive inning. If you're the coach, the organization, the players, it's just 2-out hit, everything happened, discipline, taking walks. It was just a great offensive inning.
And for Max Meyer, 33 pitches in that first inning, matches his most in any inning this year. Carson Bench flied out to start that first inning. And the 4 runs that Meyer allowed in the first inning matches the most he's given up in any game this year. And it has to feel especially good for a Mets team that was shut down so completely by Meyer for 7 innings just 6 days ago. Bench takes a fastball strike, and it's 1-1. Bench had the 2 RBI hits his last 2 at bats against the Reds on Wednesday. Some big time at bats, handling up and in pitches, which bedeviled him early in the season.
Gary, we talked so much about his sweeper and how effective it was, but his fastball command and control in his last start against the Mets was impeccable for Meyer, and he's not gotten off with that pitch either.
And his velocity's down a little bit as well. That sweeper missed badly, and now it's 3-1. You can see his body language.
Yes.
He is very unhappy with himself.
He's a little dazed and confused right now why things aren't working, because everything has come pretty easy the last couple of starts.
All right. 3-1 to Bench, and there's the strike. 3-2.
Oh, he's going to check it. Bench.
So Bench with the first challenge of the night. Will Little, the home plate umpire, called it a strike. Instead, it's ball 4, and Bench draws a 1-out walk by a 1/10 of an inch or less.
Not a good eye. The best eye.
Well, fortunate eye.
Yes.
ABS challenge presented by Nissan. So it's the 3rd walk for Meyer. He walked 3 in his 7 innings against the Mets last week. Mets have a 1-out base runner for Bo Bichette, who got things started for the Mets with an opposite field single in the first. And I think that's the most telling sign for Meyer, is he gave 2 hits with 2 strikes. Coming into the night, the opposition was hitting 103 against him when he got to 2 strikes, because he's got those put away breaking balls. Gets ahead on Bichette here, 0-2. Bichette with that base hit in the first inning pushed his career OPS against the Marlins over 1,000. Just trying to get to 600 for this season. And he hits this one out to left center. Over comes Stowers. And that's the 2nd out. So 2 away. Now Soto will get his 2nd turn.
I was just thinking out loud, Gary. Max Meyer is a guy that likes to get the call from the bench. He likes to execute his pitches. I wonder if the calls from the bench feel the angst or anguish that he's feeling on the mound. You know what I'm saying? To understand that even though they're putting down the pitch that should get hitters out, how does he feel about throwing that pitch so far this game?
Well, Clayton McCullough has emphasized since they started doing that last year that the call from the bench is a suggestion.
It is a suggestion, but for Meyer, he believes in it wholeheartedly. Like, he loves them to call the pitches so he can just execute, as opposed to maybe having more of a free will to decide.
And of course, you have a rookie catcher behind the plate, which complicates the equation as well.
Yeah, he's not going to upset the apple cart. So just, who knows? Just the thought.
Meyer pitched very carefully to Soto the first time and appears to be doing the same here. 2-0 to Juan with Bench at first. And he hits one on the ground right to Hicks at first base, and that retires the side. A walk and one left after 2. Mets 4, Marlins nothing. They're moving very well on the Queensboro Bridge.
It's not always the case, Gary.
Oh, it's the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes.
Excuse me. I was too far uptown. Got to get downtown. You know, I remember when the Fulton Fish Market looked like a fish market.
That's right. I remember when they used to sell, when I first came to the city, they used to also sell pickles down there outside of the fish market.
Out of a big barrel.
Yep.
Owen Casey leading off. So we talked about Peralta and his pitch usage. Last start against the Marlins last week, he threw 43% fastballs. Coming into this inning, 64%. That's curveball fouled off.
And he threw harder in his last start. This start, he's hovered around 93, 94. He hit 97, 98 in his last start. Sometimes teams dictate how you have to pitch them, and the strength always has been his fastball anyway.
1-2 to Casey. Goes away with the changeup. 2-3-1. 2-2. Excuse me. There's his pitch usage so far this year. He's still fastball Freddie. And now 3-2.
I think there was a time where his slider, he was trying to make that maybe into his main secondary pitch, but the changeup has prevailed.
Hit toward the hole, and there's a base hit for Casey. So Casey, who drove in 4 runs in the first 2 games of that series last weekend against the Mets, is the first man to reach against Peralta tonight.
9 hits in his last 14 games now for Casey. His swing looks a little bit like Sean Casey and the run up the first base line.
And they don't even spell their name the same.
No.
There's Javier Sanoja. I don't know if Owen Casey aspires to a political nickname. It's like the mayor.
Maybe he can be the governor or
the prime minister.
There you go.
He's Canadian.
Yep.
You know? Javier Sanoja playing third base tonight, and he takes a fastball strike, and it's 0-2. Sanoja making his 32nd start at 5 different positions. Short and third in all 3 outfield spots. And he has been a productive player. Well, it's not just that the Marlins are weaker against the fastball. It's that Freddie's fastball is better than anything else he throws by a wide margin. One-two to Sanoja. Jammed him. Did he go around? He did not. First base umpire Ryan Addison says no, and it's 2-2.
Sanoja reminds me of a younger version of Mauricio Dubon, who plays for the Atlanta Braves. A guy who is excellent in any place he plays, gets key hits.
He's only 23 years old. Won a Gold Glove as the best utility glove in the National League last year. Joe Mack, the catcher and number 9 hitter on deck. Sanoja was part of that Venezuelan team that won the WBC. And he waves at a pitch that's about 1.5 feet out of the strike zone and somehow made contact with it. And he do that. Is that a 45-inch bat?
I don't know. Just off the very end of the bat.
Wow. That's about as far outside as I've seen a hitter make contact with a pitch in a long time. Peralta misses down, and now it's 3-2. Second straight full count for Freddie. The Marlins have not had a lot of success in their history, except, oh, by the way, winning 2 World Series. 3-2, nobody out. Casey is running, and Sanoha grounds it foul.
Wow, that's an interesting play. Have the runner running down 4 points here early in the game. The guy that has a little above average speed, maybe.
Counting on Sanoha being a contact hitter. The Marlins do a lot of running. They lead the major leagues in stolen bases. Marlins are next to last in the National League in home runs, so they have to use their legs to try and produce runs. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Sanoha. Casey's running again, and Sanoha fouls it off again. 98 from Peralta, fastest pitch he's thrown.
Well, it doesn't start at the big league level. They started in the minor leagues. You are going to run if you're going to be a Marlin. You're going to wear the uniform.
Well, even a guy like Casey, who's not a fast guy, he's got 3 stolen bases already this year.
13 stolen bases in a game.
Wow.
That had to be something to watch.
Rookie ball. Don't know who the catcher was, but I feel bad for him already. Sanoha fouls off another one. This time Casey was not running. Guess he was exhausted. This is going to be pitch number 11 from Peralta to Sanoha. Casey runs. Sanoha fouls it away again. That's 4 in a row. There's a guy sitting down and to our left wearing a Luis Guillorme jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So every time you get an at bat like this, I think of Luis Guillorme against Jordan Hicks in Port St. Lucie. 22 pitches.
Or if Sanoha loses control of the bat, I'm counting on that fan to catch it.
Well, that's an extra skill. For a part-time player, Louis made his mark.
He did.
Pitch number 12 to Sanoha. Casey runs. Sanoha hits a ground ball to short. Bichette's going to have to go to first with it. So by sending Casey, they stayed out of double play. Sanoha, with a 12-pitch at bat, grounds out for the first out. That kind of at bat, in the age of the pitch count, as Justin Willard heads out to the mound to give Peralta a breather, that could put a crimp in your entire day.
It really does. And I think, you know, I was mentioning that Ewing got a hit on an 0-2 breaking ball in the first inning to drive in 2. And you say to yourself, you work so hard to get 0-2, you want to throw something out of strike zone, maybe he'll bite at it. But each pitch is so important to the pitcher that going deep into a count when you have him 0-2 doesn't make any sense. Put him away then. He just didn't make the pitch.
And in this case, with Peralta coming off 108 pitches, a season high his last start, even with the extra day, they're probably going to be limiting him tonight.
Yeah, it's just, you know, the pitch count now, if you just do the simple math, if you're perfect, 15 pitches an inning, that gets you to 90 right there through 6 innings. So less than perfect gets you over 100.
So the Marlins got a runner into scoring position for the first time, and now Joe Mack, 57 at bats into his big league career, hitting .211, but 364 with runners in scoring position. Small sample size. Mack, just 23 years old, grew up near Buffalo in Williamsville, New York. Probably has some people here tonight. It's about a 7-hour drive from Buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, goes without saying that starting pitchers pitch fewer innings than they ever have before.
So when we talk about Freddie Peralta being a kind of a 6-inning pitcher, well, that's what we produce.
They used to call the guys who gave you 5 innings and then didn't have enough to go deeper, 5 and fly.
I will just say, and this is 1,000 years ago, that you did not want that reputation. That was the worst reputation you could have as a starter.
Swing and a miss and a good changeup, 1-2. There was a guy in Houston, I'm not going to name him, but they used to say that every time the 6th inning came along, there was a sniper. It took him out.
Started looking at the coach and the bullpen.
1-2 to Mack with Xavier Edwards on deck. Bichette shadowing the runner at second. And Mack takes one in the dirt. Good stop by Torrens. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Just enjoy watching Torrens and the way he works. There's a calmness to how he blocks the pitch. Never antsy, just like a big beanbag chair.
Talk about slowing the game down. That's what he does. And Mack goes down on the changeup. 4th strikeout, first time through the batting order for Peralta. 2 out of the inning.
His first changeup of the night was nasty. It was taken for a ball. You can see the grip there. He has a good one tonight. So if he can use that fastball to get ahead, especially against the left-handed hitters, he's going to put a lot away.
So 2 outs. Casey still at second. And now Xavier Edwards comes up for the second time. Edwards hit a comebacker that Peralta had to reach down for his first time up. Casey was not far off the bag.
Now Edwards is the one guy in the Marlin lineup who does hit the fastball, gets on it.
304 this year with runners in scoring position. Over 300 as a left-hand batter, over 300 as a right-hand batter. He dribbles one foul. Edwards started out in the San Diego organization. He was a first-round draft pick by the Padres out of high school in 2018. Had a good year last year. He's having a better year this year. Looking for more power. Flies this one to deep center. Back goes Ewing a long way back. And he gets over his head and hits off the base of the wall. Casey is in to score. Edwards will easily make third with an RBI triple. His 4th triple of the year, and the Marlins are on the board. It's now 4-1. Now, Ewing was playing very shallow in center field against Edwards, who this year has been hitting the ball with more authority, and he did there.
He has been. I think they were properly placed, though, because he does have some power, but that's not going to be the majority of time. To hit it off the base of the wall at 408, not many people are going to make that catch anyway, and then he turns on the speed and turns it into a stand-up triple.
So the Marlins get the 2-out hit to play to run, and that extends the inning for Peralta, who had to work through that 12-pitch at bat earlier in the inning. He's now throwing 26 pitches in this 3rd inning.
One of the few hits that Peralta has given up this year with a man in scoring position.
Coming into the day, they were hitting 102 against him with runners in scoring position. Gets that changeup in for a strike. 2-1 to Hicks, who took him deep twice last week. Grounded out to second base his first time up today. Edwards at third with 2 down. And the fastball caught the top of the zone, and Edwards Hicks is going to challenge the call.
He thought it was up and away, both. It's close.
It's a ball. So Hicks gets that call, and that makes the count 3-1. Dangerous pitch here against a guy who does not swing and miss very much. And ball 4 to Hicks. And that'll bring the tying run to bat with Otto Lopez, the league's leading hitter. First walk given up by Peralta.
Peralta's already had a visit, so he's on his own now. With 2 outs, trying to fight his way through this inning. Might be the most important at bat for him tonight.
Otto Lopez struck out his first time up. 75 hits on the year. Last year, Otto Lopez got his 75th hit on July 18th. He's just having himself a phenomenal season. They got on waivers a couple of years ago from the Giants. Bends in a strike. 0-1. Lopez hitting .357 with runners in scoring position this year. Peralta up over 30 pitches in this inning. And a check swing. They look at first. No swing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edwards at third, Hicks at first with 2 down. A run home in the inning. Lopez fouls it away. How much impact does that 12-pitch at bat have at this point in an inning?
Yeah, huge, Gary. I mean, the starting pitcher today works for explosiveness, for his pitchers to explode. How you work out for that is sprinting and small dashes to make sure that you're as strong as you can in a short amount of time. So these long innings can be the undoing of a lot of pitchers.
This will be his 34th pitch of this 3rd inning. Ahead on Lopez, 1-2. And he just got a piece of that change up to stay in the at bat.
You'll see a lot of pitchers at the end of the year. They'll look at their record and they'll say, boy, I could have been better. And they start to look at it and they go, could never close the faucet on some innings.
That 12-pitch at bat from Sanoha equaled the longest at bat against Peralta in his major league career. 1-2 coming. And again, Lopez able to foul off a changeup. It's 2 in a row.
Said the fighting Marlins when Hicks had that home run, it's more like the pesky Marlins.
Twas ever thus, Ronnie, against the Mets. Marlins are never easy. Again, the 1-2. Bounces that slider, and Torrens keeps it in front of him with a runner at third.
Torrens again. See how he flips over that glove and just places it in that 5-hole so it doesn't go between his legs and takes it right off the chest protector.
Pitch number 37 in this inning upcoming for Peralta. That's bullpen is starting to get busy.
This would be a time in the game I personally might throw a ball in. Say I don't like this ball to get extra time. Something to
Lopez bangs one right at Semien. Had him played perfectly, and that retires the side. And so the Marlins get just the 1 run. Peralta throwing 38 pitches in that inning. He's got a 4-1 lead. To the bottom of the 3rd at Citi Field. Mets with a 4-1 lead. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, guys, that last half inning you were talking so much about pitch counts in this day and age and how much an inning like Freddie Peralta's last inning can affect the overall outing, even though he gave up just the 1 run. The Mets actually, in an attempt this year to try and emphasize being more efficient with their pitches, they created a new, I guess you could call it an internal metric that they track, and they call them Clay Holmes innings because he's effective. I should say he is efficient. 12 pitches or less, if you get out of an inning in 12 pitches or less, that is considered a Clay Holmes inning. And before every single series, the Mets pitching coaches present to the entire pitching staff who is leading the team in Clay Holmes innings pitch, trying to get some competition to have them focus on that a little bit more.
Oh boy, I really like that. That's great. We always think of the Maddox, right, Gary? Complete game with less than 100 pitches. Under 12 is magic in this day and age.
Now, from a team standpoint, you've got Jared Young leading off the next half inning after a 38-pitch inning, and he's now looked at 3 of the first 4 pitches. Do you think that's by design?
I think it depends on the hitter, Gary. It depends on the person. But there are some hitters that'll say, hey, we need a long inning here. I'm going to take a strike for Meyer and then go to hitting from there. And then I played with hitters who, like, I'm not in charge of his condition. I need a hit. So it goes both ways.
I remember you played with a player. Again, I can't really name him.
That's 2 people now.
Who was in the batter's box before the previous out was made.
That's right.
2-2 coming. And Young goes down swinging on the slider. First strikeout of the night for Max Meyer.
So, guys, just to follow up quickly on this Clay Holmes inning thing, one of the interesting things that I've heard is that Freddie Peralta is actually leading the team with 23 Clay Holmes innings. The only problem is that his other 38 and a third innings coming into the night, 21 pitches per inning. But take a look at some of this other terminology that they track. R2K percentage and attack percentage. R2K percentage is something that, Ron, you've talked about in other terminology.
Yeah.
It's essentially the race to the first 3 pitches. Can you get 2 strikes before you get 2 balls, because you're much more effective generally when you get ahead in the counts that way. And they also have attack percentage, which is the percentage of pitches in zone that you are throwing prior to having 2 strikes in the count. So they're tracking all of these things, and they're making it a competition internally, again, to try and get them to be more focused on it as a staff.
Boy, Steve, I love all that stuff. You know, in our day, you know, you only heard of those kinds of things word of mouth. I mean, intellectually, you could kind of figure it out after a while. But when I first started pitching, the wildest of pitch ever there by Meyer, I was always told first pitch strike, and I struggled with that, and I felt defeated if I didn't throw a first pitch strike. So that's how I personally came to the race to 3. But I found that the first out of the inning is a huge metric as well.
Ron, do you think if you were on a staff where it was made a competition and it was prominently talked about in that way, that would have enhanced the way you thought about it at all? Because we hear all the time about, you know, the friendly competition start to start. But the way, again, that this staff is kind of thinking about it is we can make other things a competition that are process-oriented, that make these guys think about the little things that should lead to success.
Absolutely, Steve. It's a long season. So to compete with each other, because I really think there's separate fraternities in a game, the starting pitchers, relief pitchers, everyday players, the bench, all of that is always a good thing. We would have to do it now. No one wrote it down. But if you're competing against Gooden and Fernandez and Cone and Ojeda and Aguilera, I mean, you really had to. It was easy to compete because they were so good.
Myers struck out the first 2 in this inning. 0-1 to Vientos, who had a bloop that was caught his first time up.
And one more thing, sorry, Steve. I said get the first out. Of course, get the first out. Get the first out with the first batter, because that really sets a tone for the inning. When you get in trouble later in the inning, instead of needing double play, you only need 1 out because you have 2.
Vientos cracks one to deep left. Forget that. That is way out of here into the second deck. Mark Vientos crushes his 7th home run of the year to make it 5-1 New York. Well, Vientos had the only hit against Meyer in Miami. This was a little different. A prodigious blast off the bat of Vientos.
Coming into this game, no one in the Mets lineup had a hit against Meyer. Only Vientos, who had 3, and his 4th, the most impressive.
445 feet on that second deck shot. Only the 5th home run that Meyer's given up in 12 starts this year. And Vientos earning the vest and hard hat. Well,
so fastball up in the zone, and he got the head out. And when they talk about hitting a ball at the right launch angle, that would be it.
28 degrees. 109.2 miles an hour.
I mean, that's a home run every single time. Wind blowing in, wind blowing sideways. That was a blast. So strong.
It's in there.
Yep.
We've seen it. 1-2 to Beatty, who drove in a pair of runs with a base hit in the first. And the sound of that, Ronnie.
Boy, trying to go in, and he did not get it there. You're right.
That is the longest, second longest home run of Vientos' career, as Beatty strikes out of the back foot slider. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Meyer, but in between, Vientos put one in orbit, and the Mets lead 5-1 after 3. York. Temperature got right up around 80 degrees. Going to be a little chillier tomorrow for Mets Hall of Fame ceremony day. You might want to bring a sweater.
Okay.
Cal Stowers leads off in the 4th inning. Well, Freddie Peralta got a little chance to rest there. Watched Mark Vientos circle the bases after his long inning in the 3rd. That's lined up the middle. Base hit for Stowers. And Ewing cuts it off very deep, and that'll allow Stowers to get to second. So leadoff double for Stowers in the 4th. Mets baseball on Pix 11 is brought to you by Spectrum. It's internet, mobile, and streaming TV all from one place. It's only everything. By your tri-state area Audi dealers. By MSC Cruises, let's holiday. Cruise in European style and American comfort. And by Cambridge Paving Stones, with Armor Tech, your outdoor dreams come true. Miguel Olivo and Jose Reyes, with Sandy Alomar Sr., the Mets' third base coach, stepping in between.
Well, you knew it was not going to end well because Sandy Alomar Sr. was our toughest guy on the field. You knew that was going to be a tough ending.
Carlos Gomez and Jorge Soto wound up talking Reyes down from the ledge. Think of that. Carlos Gomez was the peacemaker. Here's Jacob Marcy. And he takes a changeup strike from Peralta. Marcy hit one near the wall in left field, and Soto ran down his first time up. Line the other way, a base hit. Stowers around third. He'll come in to score. Marcy heading for second, and he's got himself a broken bat double and an RBI, and the Met lead again is cut now to 5-2.
Well, fortunate hit for Marcy. A good changeup away by Freddie Peralta, and just got it right off the end of the bat, just strong enough to flip it over Beatty's head at third base for a double. Where's this ball? Yeah, it's on the outside corner, so he was able to cover it.
At the cost of a bat, he'll pick up an RBI. So now it's 5-2. Here's Connor Norby, who struck out his first time up. And he hits a ground ball on the left side. Bichette on the backhand. The running throw to first. Off the back. Vientos can't make the tag. And Marcy goes to third. Bichette opting to make the throw without trying to set his feet. And Norby is aboard. And the Marlins have runners at first and third.
You know, when you watch Bichette play short, he plays a certain style. His style is from short to throw on the run. If you remember when he was playing third base, some of his best plays from third base were on the run. But this is such a deep throw. Hard to throw this accurate. And it's off the base enough for Norby with his hustle to get in there.
Well, it's a base hit for Norby, and now the tying run will come to bat with Owen Casey, who had the first Miami hit, came around to score in the third. So 3 straight hits for Miami to start the 4th. They have made a revision in Freddie Peralta's third inning. It wasn't 38 pitches. It was 37 pitches.
I mean, thank God you're on top of it.
But nonetheless, it appears as though he is suffering the ill effects of that. Good change up there, and it's 0-2 to Casey. I mean, since the 12 pitch at bat by Sanoja, 5 of the next 7 batters have reached base.
Wow. Just never got a really proper grip. Kind of crossed the seams as well. Didn't get it with a 4-seam, so it wasn't running as true. But he threw it sidearm as well.
Infield back, first and third, and nobody out. Runner takes off from first. Throw to second by Torrens, and he got him. Norby got a great jump, and Torrens threw him out anyway. Holding at third is Marcy. I mean, that's amazing. Connor Norby got a tremendous jump.
He got a running start, and Torrens still threw him out with no problem. The tag applied right on the helmet and back before he got in there.
That's a big first out for Peralta. Now he could use a strikeout against Casey. 1-2 coming. And he throws the changeup down, and Torrens stops that. 2-2.
Well, we saw Casey with Sanoha running down 4 runs, and Sanoha didn't put the ball in play while he was running. Now Marlins taking another chance running there, and it might help Peralta get out of the inning.
Morby is now 6 for 9 stealing bases this year. 2-2 coming to Casey, and he struck him out. Big strikeout for Peralta after the caught stealing, and now there are 2 outs. So what was looming as a huge inning for the Marlins all of a sudden has a chance to be just a 1-run inning.
This is just a nasty slider back footer. Casey had no chance. So that old adage, you don't want to run yourself out of an inning when you're behind, comes to hurt the Marlins.
So now Sanoha, who had that 12-pitch at bat before grounding out in the 3rd, and he hits the ground ball right to Semien. And so Peralta, helped out by Torrens, able to limit the damage to just 1 run after giving up 3 straight hits. 5-2 Mets in the 4th. Fiber poll question: how many games do you think the Mets will win this season? Scan the QR code on your screen. Cast your vote now. In last week's poll, 56% of you voted that Juan Soto would keep up with his recent trend and hit over 40 home runs this year.
So
Marcus Semien rifles one through the hole for a base hit to start the bottom of the 4th. And where the ball is bobbled by Stowers, Semien's able to go to second.
Just a simple base hit here. You know what happened to Stowers, whether he took his eye off the ball to see where Semien was. But good hustle by Semien. He's a pro's pro. Makes the turn. Once he sees it, easy to take the extra base.
So it's a single and an error on Stowers. The 38th error for the Marlins this year. And now Torrens looking to bunt, and that's a fair ball. Mack throws to 3rd. No chance, and it gets away, and Semien will come in to score. A rookie mistake by Mack, who must have tagged out Torrens, because Torrens went to the dugout. I did not see the tag.
Yes, he did. He picked up the ball right with Torrens and tagged him. I'm surprised that the Marlins aren't arguing interference, because Mack and the ball and Torrens were in the same area. So Torrens thought it was foul, but it propelled forward, so then he had to run. When he came out of the box, Mack is right behind him, tags him, and no, there was no interference there. Just a bad throw.
So it's a sacrifice, 2 unassisted, then an error on the catcher. So 2 errors allowing the Mets to score a run here in the 4th to make it 6-2.
Here's the throw to Sanoha, kind of fans at it. You know, if you're the 3rd baseman here, watch the tag. He gets the tag on the hip. That gets his out. But if you're Sanoha, you have to be prepared for a bad throw. If it's a bad throw, you come off the bag instead of holding your position.
Well, Semien wasn't even sliding because he was going to beat the play anyway, as Bench strikes out for the 2nd out.
Harry, you just want to be in a ready position. Your catcher is on the run, throwing across his body, so you have to anticipate that maybe the throw is not going to be perfect. So you have the latitude to move off and make that play and catch it in the air.
Well, for Mack, before he made the tag on Torrens, that ball was rolling around in his hand. He was fortunate to be able to grab it and make the tag in one motion, but then to be able to make the throw after that's asking a lot.
That's right. It would have been one of the great plays by a catcher if he had made it. Rolling around, finally tags him, and going away and throwing across his body is a difficult throw with the mask on as well.
So 2 out and nobody on. Bichette lifts one out to right. Casey there to make the play to retire the side, but the Mets get an unearned run in the 4th and lead 6-2. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies, visit MLBshop.com/Mets, the official source for your Mets gear. Marlins have scored in each of the last 2 innings. Mets have responded each time to maintain a 4-run lead. Freddie Peralta's had to work hard to get through 4 innings. First 2 were pretty easy. Last 2 have been a little more complicated. Joe Mack made the throwing error that handed the Mets that last run, leading off in the 5th. Peralta struck out 5 through the first 4 innings. Walked only 1. Allowed 5 hits. Damage could have been a whole lot worse in that last inning. And Mack lines a base hit. So Joe Mack gives the Marlins a leadoff hit for the 3rd straight inning.
It's a good little bunch of young players, this Marlins team. They've been down since inning 1, and they have not lost a step. Another bullet.
So now Freddie starts his 3rd time around the Marlins batting order, facing Xavier Edwards, who hit one off the base of the center field fence for a triple his last time up. He starts him off with a changeup outside for ball 1.
Ewing playing deeper this at bat versus Edwards.
So the first 2 innings when he was sailing, Peralta threw an extraordinary number of fastballs. He was up to 64% through 2. But as he's found trouble, he has thrown more and more secondary pitches.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that he probably over the course of his career has been so good with runners in scoring position. His secondary pitches get better with guys in scoring position.
He's leaned especially heavily on his changeup, which for the season is a pitch he throws 22% of the time. Tonight, 33% of the time.
And Edwards in the lineup for the Marlins, one of the few who loves to hit the fastball.
I guess you'd call that changeup his primary secondary pitch. Off the end of the bat down to 3rd. Beatty will go to 1st with it. So he threw 3 straight changeups in that at bat and got the ground out from Edwards. Mack advances to 2nd, 1 away.
I don't know if you could hear that up here, Gary, but the entire team in the infield of the Mets was yelling 1-1-1 just to ensure that Beatty knew he had only 1 play on that slow ground ball.
Different score. Maybe you think about 2nd with Mack, a slow runner going.
I just think that with a lead, you want to make sure you get an out.
So now Liam Hicks is grounded out and walked 0 for 1. Hicks last year was a Rule 5 pick coming from Detroit. Played a lot for a Rule 5 guy. Had a nice year, but this year he's become something extraordinary. The combination of contact and power has been off the charts. He has the 5th highest contact rate of any hitter in the major leagues. And you think of contact hitters like Stephen Kwan and Luis Arraez and people like that who are just putting the ball in play. But this guy's got 11 home runs.
And 44 RBI.
His strikeout rate is 9.3%, which is the lowest strikeout rate for any hitter with 10 or more home runs. The 2nd lowest is Junior Caminero, who's at 16%, almost twice as high.
Found a diamond in the rough, didn't they? Rule 5, I always think of teams get pitchers in the Rule 5. Not many players, because you have to play them or they lose a year, like Luis Torrens when he went to San Diego.
The Nats got Nasim Nunez that way. He's turned out to be a really good player. I mean, he could be a Gold Glove second baseman this year. Best Rule 5 pick of all time?
I got it, I think. Did he play in Pittsburgh?
Well, that wasn't really the Rule 5 draft. You're talking about Roberto Clemente, who the Pirates got from the Dodgers, which is a slightly different rule at the time. But I think of George Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Who the Blue Jays got from the Phillies in the Rule 5 draft.
George Bell, who I believe is one of the few hitters to have 3 home runs on opening day. Played in that old stadium in Toronto.
Exhibition stadium.
I played against him in AAA, and he was just as frightening as a hitter in AAA as he was in the big league.
Sure. I mean, a lot of guys are frightening in AAA. Grounded slowly on the right side. Vientos ranging wide. Nice flip to Peralta, and they get the second out. And over to third goes Mack. It's not an easy play for a first baseman to get that flip on target going that far in and to his right.
Yeah, so you have to kind of throw it across your body. He works on this a lot. Throw it at the base, not the pitcher. He'll end up there. Watch Peralta after this. He spins around. That's the key for the pitcher. So Vientos did it right, and Peralta, because when you touch the base, you spin around so that runner on third knows that he's got to hold ground and not even attempt to maybe take an extra base.
A.J. Minter is loosening in the Mets bullpen. Remember, Peralta threw 108 pitches, a season high his last start, so I think they'll be happy to get him through this 5th inning if they can.
I think you're right, Gary.
Minter made his season debut in the game on Tuesday night with a scoreless inning against the Reds.
I mean, we've been on the air so long that there was a time if a pitcher covered first, the infielders came in, gave him 20 seconds, and then they went on. Now you have to send the pitching coach out because of the clock. It'd be a clock violation.
Otto Lopez 0 for 2 tonight, but he is not only the NL East's leading hitter, but the Major League's leading hitter. Those are some of the other leaders in the division. Haven't seen the Braves or the Phillies yet this year. Be patient. Lopez slashes one and under the glove of Vientos into right field, and that'll get a run in. So Vientos, after making a nice play, could not quite get to that ball to his left. And Lopez with an RBI single makes it 6-3.
It's one of those balls that if it stays up, Vientos makes the play, but it did not. It skips under his glove. And it was hit awfully hard, so that's he didn't even get his glove down. If it stays up, he makes the play. Because it stayed down, Lopez gets a hit in RBI.
The official score just gave Vientos an error. That's
going to be changed.
That's not an error.
It's all right.
There's Kyle Stowers. And he takes a fastball that Torrens held an extra beat, but he does not challenge, and it's 1-0. Stowers doubled to right center and scored in the 4th, so the Marlins have now scored in each of the last 3 innings, each time to cut the Met lead to 3 runs. And Stowers swings over the changeup, and it's 1-1. What's the official score tonight? Jordan?
What was the ball off the bat, Gary? Did they have that?
I can find that for you. But it was slicing away from him.
Oh, no. That's a really difficult play. The elite, only the elite guys make that play or knock it down at least. He's just learning the position.
We've seen enough times this year where clear errors have been called hits because that's the trend. And Jordan was trying to buck the trend. I'm sure Lopez will get that turned into a hit. Two and one to Stowers, the biggest home run threat in the lineup, and he swings over another changeup. Freddie's really had a lot of success with that pitch.
He's got a swing like another Kyle Tucker. Stowers' swing is very similar to that, kind of a sweeping swing.
94th pitch of the night for Peralta. That's hooked down the right field line. An extra base hit for Stowers. Lopez can fly. He's heading for third. He's going to be waved around. Semien will make the relay throw to the plate. Not in time. Kyle Stowers with his second double of the night. This one drives in a run, and the Mets lead is cut to 6-4. And that's going to be all for Freddie Peralta. So they tried to squeeze him through the 5th inning.
Here's a relay. Bench. Throw it right down that line. Took Semien short hop, which made it a little more difficult to get anything on that throw and the accuracy. And you talked about Lopez. He is so fast, cuts the bases nicely, picks up his third baseman, and that's when he turns it in the 5th gear. A little stumble there. Put the pesky Marlins on their way back.
So Peralta's out after 4 2/3. We'll be right back to Citi Field. A.J. Minter in for his second appearance of the season, gets the cutter over to Jacob Marcy.
Yeah, his first was a successful comeback inning, just to hit a loud, but with a couple of strikeouts. Could use a strikeout here.
Marcy had a broken bat double to drive in a run in the 4th. Stowers at second with 2 out.
Well, the changeup, which had been such a good pitch for Freddie Peralta all this game, betrays him here. But better hitting by Stowers to go down and get that ball and wrap it down the first base line.
Minter coming back after 13 months on the sidelines after a torn lat muscle last April. Ball and 2 strikes to Marcy. A healthy A.J. Minter makes an enormous difference in the Mets bullpen.
Well, it's just this at bat alone. You've got a 2-run lead, and he comes in. You didn't have that left-hander to come in and kind of get the save out of this inning. That's what he's trying to do.
Freddie Peralta looking a little perturbed with himself. 4 2/3 innings. Matches his shortest outing of the year. Charged with 7 hits and 4 runs so far. A walk, 5 strikeouts. If the scoring holds, the 2 runs in this inning would be unearned, but it's not likely. 1-2 coming to Marcy. By the way, that ball that Otto Lopez hit, that was charged as an error. 101 off the bat.
Yeah, you hit that ball on the nose.
Two from Minter. Struck him out with a cutter. So Minter comes in and puts out the fire, but the Marlins get 2, and it's 6-4 halfway through. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Mets have been leading this game from the jump, but the Marlins keep making it closer. 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Juan Soto will lead off against Max Meyer. Tomorrow, Bobby Valentine, along with Liam Mazzilli, will be inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame. Tonight, they handed out Bobby Valentine disguises.
Bobby threw out the first pitch in the sunglasses mustache combo.
Soto walked and scored in the first, grounded out in the second, 0 for 1. Young and Ewing to follow against Meyer. He nips the outside corner with a changeup, and it's 0-2. Soto discusses it with the home plate umpire Will Little, but does not challenge. Bounces away from Mack, a ball and 2 strikes.
It's an interesting scene, right? Arguably, the player with the best eye in baseball was discerning and decided not to challenge. He's so in control at the plate.
Grounds that one to the right side. Hicks has got it. Walks it over to Meyer. 1 out. Juan's got his braids back tonight. After going with the puffy look on Wednesday.
I mean, he's like, I had a pitch to hit. I was going to say maybe what he did say, but I can't.
Well,
they're good.
We don't speak that much Spanish. 1 out and nobody on. Now Jared Young, who has walked and struck out tonight. Jared is DHing tonight. Jorge Polanco is on the mend. Polanco is out on rehab. He's playing for Double-A Binghamton tonight, and Polanco in that game has a 3-run homer. could be that we will see Polanco as early as next week. And that would be huge. Meanwhile, I was watching today before the game, watching Francisco Alvarez run, take batting practice, do catching drills, block balls in the dirt. He looked like a guy who's ready to play. And it's only a shade over 2 weeks after meniscus surgery. I mean, Jared Young was out 6 weeks with meniscus surgery. Alvarez is a catcher. It should take longer.
It should take longer, but
he's like superhuman.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before with him coming back from injuries. He could be out on rehab as early as next week.
Oh.
Guys, I saw Francisco Alvarez in the dugout, and I just looked at him and I said, "You are a freak." And he smiled. He said, "I'm not a freak. I'm just a normal guy with a different mindset."
And obviously very high pain tolerance and healing skills. Young able to foul off that fastball and stay on the at bat. So there appears to be at least some kind of timetable for Polanco and Alvarez. Lindor and Robert, not so much. Lindor's been doing some running, but he's not to the point where they can think about a rehab assignment yet. Swing and a miss, and Young is down on the sweeper. It's 5 strikeouts for Meyer, 2 out in the inning. And Robert has not even done any baseball activities at all. He's just getting shots in his back and trying to strengthen it up and hoping to get to the point where he can do something.
Meyer, despite giving up 6 runs already, has finally found his sweeper.
Well, he's still in this game because his team keeps fighting back. Ewing takes a strike. AJ was called out on strikes his last time up after delivering a 2-run single in the first. That scored 4 in the first. Ewing and Beatty each had 2-run hits. Vientos added a home run in the third. Mets got an unearned run in the fourth. And Ewing quickly down to the count 0-2 for the 3rd straight at bat. Slowly hit down to first, and that kicks foul. It's got to be a very difficult line for A.J. Ewing to toe. He's here in part because he has very good on-base skills, right? Drew a lot of walks in the minor leagues, and he had a 400 on-base percentage. That's kind of why he's here.
Yeah.
But the pitchers at this level are throwing more strikes, and he's taking a lot of strikes.
And down there, all of them, AAA players, AA players, they know he's one of the best players in the league. Here they're like, "Oh, show me, kid," But he did get ahead in many of the counts when he first came up. Not so much now. But he delivers a few more hits, especially with 2 out, especially driving in runs. They'll be treating him a little differently again.
It's all part of the learning process. This is only the 16th game he started in the major leagues. Only got 54 at bats under his belt. A lot more learning to do. And AJ keeps the bat alive. Let's check out the road ahead for the Mets, brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. 4 o'clock game tomorrow. It's Hall of Fame Day. Be in your seats by 3:30, please. 1:40 first pitch Sunday. Then it's off to Seattle and San Diego next week. Face a Mariners team that is overloaded with starting pitching to the point where they have to piggyback guys who are not happy about it. Line drive into center field, and Ewing's got his 2nd hit of the day. Went down and got that pitch and hit a bullet right over the head of the shortstop.
Well, he got a steady diet of breaking balls this entire game so far, and I think maybe he caught a change of, no, it's another breaking ball, just not as good a one, and just stroked it to left field. Simple swing with 2 strikes, trying to put the ball in play, and was rewarded for it.
So the Mets have 6 hits tonight. Ewing has a pair of them. Mark Vientos has the longest one, 445 feet into the 2nd deck in left field for his 7th of the year. And he takes first pitch sweeper for a strike. Ewing already has a stolen base tonight, his 4th of the season.
Vientos would see a steady diet of breaking pitches in this at bat after the home run on the fastball.
Slices this one down the right field line and overcomes Casey to make the catch. And that retires the side. A hit and one left. We've played 5, 6-4 New York. City, Mets with a 6-4 lead. Love when things are all lit up, clear.
Yes.
Just wait till that Empire State Building is draped in orange and blue for the Knicks, and maybe later for the Mets.
There you go.
Connor Norby leads off in the 6th inning and swings and misses at a fastball from A.J. Minter. Minter came in to get the final out of the 5th, striking out Marcy. Now facing Norby, Casey, and Sanoha in the 6th. Marlins have scored in each of the last 3 innings. Minter trying to shut off the faucet. And he's quickly ahead on Norby, 0-2. Freddie Peralta's final line, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 94 pitches. So the Mets bullpen will have to get 13 outs if they want to win this game. A.J. Minter has been itching to be a part of the formula here. Huascar Brazoban, next man up in the Mets bullpen. He's had so many setbacks over the last few years. Tommy John surgery, hip surgery, and most recently the torn lat muscle that led to surgery last year.
Heavy use when he was in that bullpen in Atlanta. And it wasn't a straight line. He had an outstanding rookie year, but then ended up back in the minor leagues.
And he strikes out Norby to start the 6th inning. So Minter's faced 2 and struck them both out.
Well, he throws that cutter in on the righty so much that when he surprises him with the 4-seamer, he threw that ball right past Norby.
I remember talking to Minter a year ago spring training after he came off the hip surgery, and he was so excited because he had basically pitched for 3 years with a bad hip, and he said he felt so good in spring training just having that hip healthy and being able to work around it without having to worry about the pain. And then less than a month into a season, he goes down and he's out for the year.
Well, it's not the first time a guy has had an injury, pitched with it for many years, gets it fixed, and something else goes, because now your mechanics are more like they were early in your career as opposed to pitching hurt.
Oh, and Casey's 1 for 2 tonight. And he swings and misses at the cutter, and it's 1-2. Casey came over in a trade for Edward Cabrera. Boy, the Marlins could sure use Cabrera right now, although Cabrera's hurt. He's got a blister, and he's out for the Cubs. But Casey was the Cubs' big prospect. Ground ball backhanded by Minter. Oh, wow. 13 months away, and he learned prestidigitation.
Sweet. Love it. One hopper, behind the back, Harlem Globetrotter-like, and the easy out.
And he's done his work for the night. Carlos Mendoza on his way to the mound with a right-hand hitter. Minter with a big smile for his manager. Didn't know you had that in your bag of tricks, AJ. He exits, and Brazoban coming on. We liked this shot so much we showed it again. Well, apparently he lost a bet.
Oh, the fantasy football thing.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Sorry, buddy. At least he got a drink out of it.
I've been asked to join a fantasy football league this year. I've never been in one.
Couldn't get me there, no matter how much you promised me. Huascar Brazoban, coming off his opener effort on Wednesday, worked a scoreless inning.
I thought this was outside, but we'll see.
Sanoja challenging the call, and he loses the challenge. So the Marlins are down to 1 challenge. That's a bad.
Sorry, Mets challenge. He called it a ball.
Oh, he called it a ball.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's definitely a strike. So the Mets won the challenge. Grounded down to third. 2-hopper handled by Beatty. And the throw is perfect. Side retired. Brazoban throws 2 pitches, gets 1 out, and sends us to the bottom of the 6th with the Mets up 2. Box score for the Mets: 2-run singles in the first from Ewing and Beatty, home run in the third from Vientos, and the Mets lead 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Brett Beatty leads off against Max Meyer, who's back out there. And Beatty fouls it off. A little surprising to see Meyer back out for the 6th. 92 pitches through 5.
I mean, you'd have to believe that some of these pitches were thrown in duress when he was struggling early in the game, but he's on top of his game right now.
Cade Gibson, the lefty, is up in the bullpen, but the Mets have 2 right-hand hitters up behind Beatty. Meyer has never thrown 100 pitches in a major league game. This is his 37th career start.
So I guess they're going to try to get him through the inning if everything goes perfect. If it does not, then the left-hander will come in to face bench.
Brett Beatty had a big hit to cap a 4-run first inning.
And Meyer was hanging that breaking ball, 2 hits by Ewing, and then that clutch run with 2 outs by Beatty.
One-two to Brett. He takes that sweeper down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Marlins, like the Mets, had the day off yesterday, so they should have a rested bullpen. Probable pitchers for the rest of the series, brought to you by Mike's Amazing. Christian Scott, still looking for his first big league win. Although he certainly has been pitching well. Goes tomorrow, and then Nolan McLean on Sunday. It's fouled off the foot of Beatty. It's going to be fascinating to watch McLean on Sunday and see what kind of adjustments he's made.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to every pitcher. Even the great Paul Skeens has had a couple of forgettable starts this year. So it's that's really how you judge yourself, how you get out of the hole. McLean's in a little hole right now.
Beatty goes down swinging on the fastball, and that's 6 strikeouts now for Max Meyer. He has matched his career high by throwing 99 pitches.
So many breaking balls, and surprised him with a high heater. Just threw it right by him.
Now Marcus Semien, who was aided by the Marlins for a trip around the bases in the 4th, pops this one up in foul ground. Mack stumbling after it and gets there to make the catch in the on-deck circle. Didn't start well. He took a bad step as he started his pursuit of that ball, but he wound up tracking it down for the 2nd out.
I like him, though. I like everything about him defensively. This is not an easy play, because he's got to run, sprint hard to his right, and then he gets near that on-deck circle with all the equipment that's lying there. But fearless, he makes the play.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Luis Torrens, who was flied out and sacrificed 0 for 1. Thinking this is quite a feather in a young pitcher's cap to get to that triple-digit pitch total for the first time.
That, and you can learn a lot about a young pitcher that despite giving up 6 runs, he's still here in the 6th, throwing good pitches, effective pitches.
Mack challenging the ball 2 call.
I mean, I thought that ball was a foot outside.
I thought so too, but I guess not. So he knew better.
I'll leave this to Keith. I'm really bad at this. Former pitcher, I think everything's a strike.
That's your job. Positive thinking. So pitching by way of Norman Vincent Peale.
I mean, I'm pretty good with the replays, but this ABS, I have to just be quiet.
Keith wants the whole thing.
Oh, he loves it.
He doesn't want to see the box. He just wants to call the pitcher. 1-2 coming. And it skips in. I think that was a ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Keith's eyesight is still impeccable at 70+ years old.
You know, he's already had 2 careers as a player and a broadcaster. He might have a third.
Running the ABS?
Yeah. Or being an umpire.
I don't think they can take care of his needs out of the booth. The ABS pay. Brooks Raley up in the bullpen for the Mets.
Pitch number 106 coming from Meyer. And Torrens grounds it to third, one-handed by Sanoha. And so Meyer works his way through the 6th, throws more pitches than he ever has in a big league game. Mets lead at 6-4. Marlins brought to you by Lincoln. Xavier Edwards with an RBI triple. Jacob Marcy and Kyle Stowers each with RBI doubles. And the Marlins have been able to stay in this game after the Mets scored 4 in the first. Oscar Brazaban came on to get the final out in the 6th, stays on for the 7th. Joe Mack leads off for Miami, and he flies one on the left side of the infield. Beatty waits for it to come down. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, earlier today, Ronnie had a little bit of an incident on the highway.
I mean, in 21 years, only Keith had really had an incident with his car. I today learned a lesson. I was flat tire on 95. Luckily, the traffic was going so slow. There's nowhere to go. So I didn't feel like I was going to lose my life. But I had some valuable things in the back seat. I had to take them out and make sure they were secured. Then I got on ChatGPT because I wasn't sure where all the stuff was in the car, like the Bronco that I had. So that told me where everything was, where to put the jack to get the car up so I don't ruin the car. And I got it done and still got here. Not too bad, like quarter to 5.
You didn't even think of making a phone call. You said, I'm going to do this myself.
Oh, like AAA? Yeah. I mean, I haven't. It's not like I fix a lot of cars. I haven't changed a tire since I was a teenager. But I don't know. Like you feel compelled to man up. You know?
I mean, if this had happened to Keith, he would have called Russ, and Russ would have met him on the highway.
Or if I could have made it all the way to Citi Field, I would have had some help.
So that's the problem, is that all the help is right across the street here, at least for the time being.
But it was
not much longer.
It was oddly, it felt good after I'd done it in a strange way.
You know, I've changed quite a few flat tires in my time.
Yeah.
It's been a few years, but I've done it. The scariest part to me is always.
Oh, thank you. Since I don't have one.
That's like the donut.
Yeah, since I don't have one for the ride home, I'm going to put this in just in case I get another flat. I will put that on, and I'll wobble my way home. Secure that, please. That's great.
It's a walk to Edwards.
So you were saying?
I was saying that the scariest thing is when you start pumping up the jack and knowing where under the car to place it so you don't like ruin your undercarriage.
Yeah, ruin the bottom of the car. But ChatGPT, it told me everything I needed to know and do.
Somebody's going to be coming to you for an endorsement.
All that was missing was the Mets' orange cap.
Liam Hicks takes a change up for a strike. So the Marlins get the tying run to bat in the 7th with their leading home run hitter Liam Hicks at the plate after a 1-out walk to Edwards. I mean, when Keith had his incident, he was so late that he felt he needed to bring in the bill from the towing company to prove to us that he had the incident. That's trickled down the left field line. It'll go by Beatty and up against the tarp. And the Marlins will have runners at second and third. Well, the second soft double of the night for Miami. Marcy had a broken bat double in the fourth inning, and now Hicks just dribbles one over the third base bag.
I mean, you can't write this up or place this any better. Hicks out in front of that, and with that kind of spin, it's going to stay fair and then move its way towards the tarp where Juan Soto finally picks it up.
50.2 miles an hour off the bat, and it had two bases in it. So now the tying runs are in scoring position with one out. That's will play the infield back out of Lopez, the batter. And the league's leading hitter takes a fastball outside for ball one. Lopez hit what was scored an error on a 101-mile-an-hour shot past Vientos in the fifth. He flies this one out to left. That's got a run in it. Tagging at third is Edwards. Soto makes the catch. His throw will go to third. Edwards comes home, and this is now a one-run game. So Lopez drives in his 24th run to cut the Mets lead to 6-5. Carlos Mendoza on his way to the mound. He's got Brooks Raley ready for the left-hand hitter Stowers. So Brazoban, after a walk, a soft double, and a sac fly, will exit. Raley coming in. We'll be right back. Raley on to try and get the final out in the top of the seventh.
Yeah, he got 4 outs in his last appearance against the Reds, but maybe just needed for 1 out here to kind of close out this inning with only a skinny 1-run lead.
Kyle Stowers has a pair of doubles tonight. He's driven in 1. He's scored 1. Tying run at second with 2 out. And Stowers takes a cutter outside for ball 1. Brazoban hurt himself with a walk. The run in this inning charged to him. And Cutter's in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Braves won tonight in Cincinnati 8-3. Dom Smith had 3 more hits. You know, Dom's hitting .336.
There was a big article on Dom, and he said that all winter he spent with a hitting coach from his youth to try to swing like he did when he was in high school.
It's working. 1-1. Fouled at the plate, 1-2. Best year of his career was the COVID year, 2020.
That's right.
He was magnificent that year. Michael Peterson, the right-hander, joins Kate Gibson, the left-hander, in the Miami bullpen. Seems weird that we're almost at the end of May and we haven't seen the Braves or the Phillies yet. Raley ahead on Stowers, 1-2, and goes away with that sweeper. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hicks the runner at second, and Stowers takes what's called ball 3, but Terens is convinced that it's strike 3. And it is. Inning over. So Raley gets the call going his way by that much. 6-5 Mets. The first 18,000 fans at the game will receive a Hello Kitty bobblehead presented by Toyota. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/tickets. Lefty Kate Gibson comes on to pitch for the Marlins as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
This is his second stint with the Marlins this season. He's pitched more than 1 inning in 3 of his last 5 appearances.
Very breaking ball heavy, sliders and curveballs. And he's got some of the highest spin rate in the majors, over 3,100 RPM with both his slider and his curve. Carson Bench is 0 for 2 and a walk. That's at several points tonight. Have had a 4-run lead, but the Marlins with 2 in the 5th and 1 in the 7th to cut it to 6-5. Bench, Bichette, and Soto at the top of the batting order. Max Meyer threw a career-high 106 pitches over 6 innings and persevered despite giving up a 4 spot in the first inning. Bench pops one up in foul ground. Mack racing back and can't get to this one.
I was going to think, when is the last time a catcher's had 2 pop-ups, right? Behind the plate.
Not in modern ballparks. Final line on Meyer: 6 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run.
A lot of 6s. No good.
Yeah, you don't want 6s.
But he really bore down and was good at the end.
I mean, think of Damian.
Yes. Don't look at the scalp.
Fastball on the inside edge, and it's 2-2 to Bench. And Bench swings and misses at that sweeper, and that's the first out in the 7th.
Gibson's a big guy from Louisiana, and you're right, Gary. He's got a good break, and that high breaking ball missed by Bench.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Bo Bichette, who's 1 for 3 tonight, had an opposite field single in the first to get the Mets started, and that's just a tad outside. Ball 1. Bo's trying to put together some more consistent games. He's 5 for 14 on this homestand, taking steps. That sweeper almost swept the entire plate. I mean, it's kind of like McLean from the other side.
Right.
Tobias Myers, next man up in the Mets bullpen. And the sinker misses away, 3-0. So the Marlins in the 8th will have Marcy, the left-hand batter, leading off, and then right-hand hitter Norby. So do you leave Raley in to start the inning? He'd have to face 2 batters.
I would.
That's too high. Ball 4. 3-0 curveball. Interesting choice there with Soto on deck. Alvin Fauché, who does some of the closing for the Marlins, is up in their bullpen. Marlins bullpen has been really good. Their starters have struggled for the most part, but the bullpen has been a strength. Soto's 0 for 2 and a walk. And Gibson has him bailing out on that sweeper. 0-1.
No one gets Soto to bail. So that tells you how effective that pitch is by Gibson.
And he loops one into center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Bichette read it well. He'll go first to third. Throw me that pitch twice in a row and I'll figure out how to hit it, says Soto. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
It's almost like he told himself, I bailed the first breaking pitch. I'm not going to bail. I'm going to just put the ball in play, cut down my swing, gets it off the end. And it works for Juan and the Mets.
Mets announce Eric Wagaman into the game to pinch hit, and Clayton McCullough's going to go to his bullpen and bring in the right-hander. So Wagaman to pinch hit, and now Fauché to pitch. 6-5 Mets looking for more in the 7th. Mets trying to add to a 6-5 lead in the bottom of the 7th. MJ Melendez will bat for Eric Wagaman, who was batting for Jared Young, with the right-hander Calvin Fauché on the pitch.
Well, Fauché's got 4 pitches, really: cutter, sinker, sweeper, curveball.
And the Marlins bring the infield in again. They did this in the 1st inning with runners at 1st and 3rd, and 1 out. And A.J. Ewing got a base hit through the drawn-in infield, driving a pair. Now again, they bring the infield in against Melendez, who's not nearly as fast a runner as Ewing. Fauché misses down with a sinker. What do you think about that?
I would play halfway, I think, in this instance. Bichette doesn't have a ton of speed. They're not all the way in the grass in the middle, so that gives them an opportunity with a hard hit ball to turn 2.
Slider running in toward his feet, and he fouls it off 1-2.
Corners are pinched. I think that's a good move. But really, the only way they can turn 2 is if a ball was hit right to the shortstop on a couple of hops.
Well, maybe Soto would take off early in the count, but he is not. Stick it close to first. 1-2 to Melendez. And the breaking ball hit out to left center. That's got a run in it. Tagging at third is Bichette. Stowers makes the catch. Throw goes to second. Melendez comes through with a sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter. And the Mets reestablish a 2-run lead at 7-5.
Well, that's got to feel good for Melendez. He needed that situational at bat to get the job done. Outstanding.
So the wheels turned on both sides. The pointer landed on Melendez, and he came through.
Yeah, nice moves there by Mendoza.
So Soto still at first with 2 out. Now A.J. Ewing, who has a couple of hits tonight. A 2-run single in the 1st inning, and a single to left center in the 5th. Soto at first, 5 steals on the year, and that one hit sharply, but right at the second baseman Edwards, and that retires the side. But the Mets tack on a run and lead 7-5 after 7. It's 11 in partnership with Wounded Warrior Project. By Slomans, visit ac.slomans.com for incredible savings on central air conditioning. By ShopRite, we are here. And by AAA Northeast, providing trusted roadside assistance even to Ronnie. Travel services, discounts, insurance, and financial services for over 120 years. Tobias Myers will pitch the 8th inning.
Last pitch on Wednesday. Got a couple of outs, but it wasn't his best day. Gave up a run and a couple of hits.
And Jacob Marcy greets him with a base hit to center field on the first pitch he throws. So the Marlins just keep on coming back. They were down 4-0, 5-1, 6-2. Got within 6-5. Now it's 7-5, and they'll get the tying run of the play in the 8th. Myers pitching the 8th makes you think that Devin Williams is probably down today. Williams, remember, threw 34 pitches in the 9th inning on Wednesday. Popped up by Norby on the first pitch he sees. And Bichette retreats and makes the grab. So 2 pitches, both put into play. 1 out, 1 on.
The Marlins have started 4 innings with base hits in tonight's game. Remarkable number.
They're attacking early in the count against Tobias Myers, trying to stay away from that splitter. Now Owen Casey, last time up, A.J. Minter went behind the back to field his sharp 1-hopper. Casey's 1 for 3 tonight. And he hits one in the air to deep right field. Back goes Bench to the warning track, back at the wall, and it's out of here. Owen Casey ties the game with a 2-run homer. Third straight hitter to attack the first pitch against Myers, and Casey goes deep for his 5th home run of the year. And the Marlins have come all the way back to tie this game at 7-7.
So after 2 fastballs to the first 2 hitters who both swung at the pitch, Marcy with a hit and Norby with an out, pop up the shortstop. Myers says, okay, they're on the first pitch. I'll counter with a changeup. And Casey somehow, some way, stayed back enough to power that ball deep into the night in right center.
Now Javier Sanoja attacks first pitch, and Myers throws him out. 4 batters each have gone after the first pitch and put it into play, and it's worked for them.
Here's the grip, split finger, first pitch. It's the right pitch to throw. It's down. He's off balance, but he caught it right on the barrel. And it shows you the strength of this young player. I mean, that's deep into the bullpen.
Two out and nobody on now. Joe Mack. That's on 3 separate occasions in this game had a 4-run lead. But the Marlins have come all the way back. Owen Casey, who was the #1 prospect for the Cubs, they traded him away to the Marlins to get pitching. That's ripped foul by Mack. Back into the second deck. And Casey had a big series against the Mets in Miami, drove in 4 runs in that series, and now he hits a 2-run homer to get this game tied. Mack is 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 5th. He's looking for his first big league home run. Fouls off the fastball, and it's 1-2. Lorenz got nailed.
See what happens for the catcher. They're prepared to catch that ball in the air, and once it's tipped, sometimes it'll catch them right on the back of the glove, or it'll catch them right on the glove, and it kind of pushes your thumb. Oh, that one caught him right on the kind of wrist part of the glove. Gives you a stinger right up your arm.
With the base of your pinky.
Yep.
Marlins have always been tough sledding against the Mets. Last year, for the 3rd time, they beat the Mets on the last day of the season to keep the Mets out of the postseason. Giving them fits again. 1-2 to Mack. He lifts this one foul down the left side. Well, we wondered whether Raley would stay in to start this 8th inning. Raley's been used a lot, so after getting just the 1 batter in the 7th, they went to Myers here in the 8th, and Myers for the 2nd straight outing has had a rough go of it. And Mack takes that splitter down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Austin Warren next man up in the Mets bullpen. Meanwhile, the Marlins have Anthony Bender up in their pen, getting ready for the bottom of the 8th. And Mack grounds one on the right side. Semien shuffling to his left. That retires the side, but Owen Casey's home run gets the Marlins even. 7-7 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. West Coast for Friday Night Mets next week. Coverage will begin at 8:30 with New York Nightcap, followed by the Cure Auto Insurance pregame at 9. First pitch scheduled for 9:40. Mets and Padres next Friday on Pix 11. Well, we start from scratch. Bottom of the 8th inning, tied 7-7. Anthony Bender on to pitch for the Marlins.
Yeah, Bender was very impressive over in Miami, getting 7 outs in that series and 3 strikeouts. You're going to see a lot of sinking fastballs, a sweeper and slider mix.
Mark Vientos will lead off against Bender. Beatty and Semien to follow. Vientos hit a 2nd deck home run in the 3rd inning. At the time, it gave the Mets a 5-1 lead. And he takes the first slider outside for ball 1.
Fastball up in the zone, gets the head out, and we know what kind of power this young man has when he makes contact.
Second longest home run of his career. Chases the sweeper, and it's 1-1. Well, Max Meyer, persevering through 6 innings, all of a sudden has a huge impact on this game.
He does, because he has set up this really sturdy and good bullpen for Miami. Put them in a good spot after a day off.
And that sweeper bends in for a strike, and it's 1-2. The aptly named Anthony Bender.
He can bend it, certainly.
Like Beckham. That's ripped to left field, but right at Stowers. 1 out. Michael Peterson, the tall right-hander. John King, the left-hander, up in the Miami bullpen. Brett Beatty capped a 4-run first inning with a 2-run single. Since then, he has struck out twice. And Brett flies one to center field. Marcy has plenty of room. 2 out. I misjudged that ball at first, but
Misjudged it, or the ball carried a little. I'm not sure. Wind's kind of swirling.
so 2 up and 2 set aside. Now Marcus Semien. With Weaver getting ready for the 9th inning. It appears as though Devin Williams is not available after 34 pitches day before yesterday. Semien takes that bender for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, so Meyer went 6. That put them in a good spot. And with Peralta not getting out of the 5th, the Mets have spent a lot of bullets already, especially if Williams is out.
That's why when they talk about innings pitched being a huge stat for starting pitchers, it's not just about covering innings within a season. It also helps you within games.
That's right.
0-2 to Semien.
And it's not about perfect innings. You know, when everything is going well, like it did for Meyer in his last start against the Mets, those are easy starts. You see a lot more about, learned a lot more about Max Meyer tonight, getting through 6. Bender does something you see very rarely in the game today. He has an, what would you call it, an indoor breaking ball. He'll throw it right at the right-handed hitter and try to bend it over the inside corner. Dangerous pitch.
2-2 to Semien. And the fastball got him looking. Side retired. So a 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Bender sends us off to the 9th, tied at 7. The wonderful ramps of the Guggenheim Museum, sitting on 5th Avenue and displaying all sorts of beautiful works of art. And it's fun going up and down the ramps too.
Yeah, it's like whimsical architecture, isn't it?
Think of Robert Rauschenberg.
That's right. Luke Weaver has been so good since April 18th. He's made 15 appearances, 20 strikeouts, a 1.06 ERA.
Got 4 outs in the game on Wednesday against the Reds. He'll face the top of the batting order in the top of the 9th in a 7-7 game. Xavier Edwards drove in the first Miami run with a long triple to center against Freddie Peralta in the 3rd. Edwards, Hicks, and Lopez, the 3 scheduled hitters, the 3 best hitters in the Marlins lineup. That's on their 6th pitcher of the night. Beatty in on the cutout at 3rd. Edwards with terrific speed. Weaver misses with his first changeup, ball 1. Freddie Peralta went 4 2/3, charged with 4 runs, 2 earned. A.J. Minter worked a scoreless inning. Lascar Brazoban gave up a run in his inning. Raley retired his only batter. And then Tobias Myers gave up the 2-run tying home run to Owen Casey in the 8th.
The first pitch swinging Marlins in the 8th.
First 4 hitters all put the ball in play, and Casey put it out of play. Edwards lines one toward the middle, just past Bichette. A base hit to start the top of the 9th. So now Xavier Edwards and his speed aboard, carrying the tie-breaking run.
The 5th inning that they've led off with a base hit of these Marlins. This one cracked to center field. You're right, Gary. Their speed comes into play now.
Weaver is outstanding at holding runners. Edwards has 8 steals in 10 tries. Now Beatty's in on the grass at third. I don't think there's any way Liam Hicks is bunting.
No, he got such a good eye.
Weaver has 6 pickoffs in his career, including 1 this year. Over 11 years, he's given up 15 stolen bases. That's crazy. And, you know, some of those years he was a starting pitcher. It's not like he's pitching any at a time his whole career.
Thus runners know that they have to be careful. It's a pretty good percentage there. The Marlins this season.
Beatty is backed up a couple of steps as Weaver throws over. So they told Beatty in on the grass, not so good against Hicks, and now he's backing up a little more.
The thing that concerns me is the hole between first and second more.
And Hicks flies one out to left. Soto eases back, gets himself in position to throw, and that's the first out. So a big out for Weaver as he gets Hicks on the fly ball. Now he has to contend with Otto Lopez. Lopez delivered a sacrifice fly in the 7th. They got the Marlins within 1. Otherwise 0 for 3 tonight.
You know, Gary, the other factor is Weaver's so good at not giving up the stolen base, but so is the catcher, Torrens. I mean, around the league, people know that he is a strike thrower.
He's already thrown out 1 tonight. Norby back in the 4th inning. Now Lopez, the league's leading hitter, takes a fastball right down the middle for a strike.
Might be a case where he's taking a pitch or taking a strike to allow Edwards to steal.
He's only had 1 career at bat against Weaver, 0 for 1. Not a very big lead for Edwards at first. This is the most productive middle infield in baseball this year, with Edwards and Lopez. Quite unexpectedly. Edwards not so much, but Lopez has come out of the weeds. And Lopez pops it up. Vientos backing up, and he's being obstructed. It's moot as he makes the catch. That would have been an obstruction call against Edwards had Vientos not caught that ball. And now they're going to call Edwards out as well, and it's a double play.
No, they're going to allow the runner to go to first base.
Why is that?
Because
the obstruction
happened, right? Supersedes. So Edwards is out. The runner stays on first. Lopez. So they call it here. So once they call it here, it's before Vientos catches it. I mean, they're doing the bump and grind there for a minute.
So it's an interference call against Edwards. Give the put out to Vientos, and Lopez replaces him at first. And now Stowers. He takes a fastball outside for ball 1.
I mean, it was just it wasn't like Edwards wasn't trying to get out of the way.
I mean, it's the runner's responsibility to avoid the fielder when the fielder is trying to make a play on the ball. That's line to center field. In comes Ewing. He'll have to play it on a hop. Lopez pulls in at second. So Stowers with his 3rd hit of the night. And now the go-ahead run in scoring position with 2 out.
We saw Stowers before reach out and hook a ball down the line for a changeup. This one, again, another change that he's able to stay back on just enough to hit a line drive to center.
That's a dozen hits now for the Marlins. And now Jacob Marcy, who has 2 of them, a broken bat double and a solid single to center. 2 out and 2 on. Tie game, 9th inning. And the first pitch changeup down for ball 1. Lopez outstanding speed at second. Stowers not so much at first. Changeup misses high, and it's 2-0 to Marcy. Marcy is facing Weaver for the first time in a regular season game. Behind in the count, 2-0. And Marcy swings through the fastball. 2 balls and a strike. Pete Fairbanks, who closes games for the Marlins, is up in their bullpen. Mets bullpen behind Weaver is quiet. 2-1 coming to Marcy. And he popped it up into shallow center. Ewing comes on. Side retired. Weaver works around a couple of hits, and the Mets will try to walk it off in the bottom of the 9th. After the game tonight here on Pix 11, it's New York Nightcap presented by Nissan. Figgy and Simone will get you fully updated on the Knicks news as they seek their first NBA title since 1973. Big right-hander from England, Michael Peterson, will pitch.
Yeah, so the Marlins opt not to bring in their closer Fairbanks and counter with Peterson, who we were very impressed with in Miami.
Luis Torrens leads off the last of the 9th, 0 for 2 in a sacrifice tonight. And he swings and misses at a high fastball. Peterson in the Sunday game in Miami got 4 outs before Heriberto Hernandez ended the game with a grand slam. Now the Mets try to walk off the Marlins. They beat them 3 straight times in Miami. Carson Bench on deck, then Bo Bichette. Fastball nicked the outside corner, and it's 0-2.
I mean, from this big right-hander, when he releases that ball straight over the top, it must feel like it's coming out of 7.5 feet. It's Marcy's waving to the bench. Where do you want me to play with 2 strikes?
Doesn't matter. 1 out.
Little country, even though from London, little country hardball there from Peterson. All over the top, all 98 plus upstairs.
To be fair, he only lived in England for a year, but that's where he was born.
So maybe Sussex.
Carson Bench 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. And Bench takes a big rip, 0-1. Carson's already had a couple of walk-off RBIs in his brief big league career. Bench swings and misses at a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. That's 5 straight strikes from Peterson.
That also had a little run on it. Started down the middle and ended up off the outside corner.
Peterson's only given up 1 home run through his first 19 appearances this year. Bo Bichette on deck, and if anybody gets on, Juan Soto. And Bench hits one in the air to center field. It's playable for Marcy. First contact the Mets have made against Peterson. Marcy was in just the right spot. Guess he got the right instructions.
Yes, he did.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Bichette, who has reached base safely twice and scored each time. A single in the first, a walk in the 7th.
Let's see a big swing from Bichette early in the count here.
Gets a first pitch slider that's off the plate for ball one. Well, Peterson knows who's on deck. Last thing he wants to do is face Soto with a man on. Got that slider over for a strike, and it's 1-1. Two out and nobody on. Last of the ninth, tied at 7. And Bichette swings and flies one out to left center. Angling on it is Marcy. And we are going to extra innings at Citi Field. 7-7 after 9. The ninth for Miami.
Very unusual delivery. Watch when the glove goes up. He kind of just drops his right hand under the glove, and then you can pick up the grip. But he's really just a fastball slider guy, so probably has one grip for both of those pitches. But if he ever develops a changeup, you might be able to see it out of the way he throws the ball. Austin Warren on for the Mets.
Mets are playing their 11th extra inning game of the season. 11 of their first 57. That's a ton. Mets are 6-4 in extra innings this year. The Marlins are 1-2. Jacob Marcy is the free runner. Tons of speed at second base. Connor Norby will be the first man up against Warren, who last pitched on Monday against Cincinnati and got 5 outs without allowing a run. Corners are in for the Mets. Norby is 1 for 4 tonight. And he swings and misses at a first pitch sweeper, 0-1. So the Mets have now gone to 7 pitchers tonight. Freddie Peralta went just 4 2/3. Minter, Brazoban, Raley, Myers, Weaver, and now Warren. And Norby swings past that sweeper, and it's quickly 0-2. Owen Casey, who tied this game with a 2-run homer in the 8th, is on deck. Warren has been something of a miracle worker this year with men on base. Worked around a leadoff double against the Reds in his last outing on Monday. Kind of like the same assignment he has here. 0-2 coming to Norby. Went a little wider with the sweeper. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One-two coming. Struck him out. He went upstairs with the fastball after 3 straight sweepers, and he strikes out Norby for the first out.
This kid is fearless. Each and every time he comes in, he's not going to beat himself. He throws strikes and goes right after the hitters.
So now Owen Casey, whose 2-run homer off Tobias Myers in the 8th, tied this game up, his 5th home run of the year. Marcy at second and 1 out, and he hits it sharply. 1 hop to Semmy, and he's got it. 2 down. Over to third goes Marcy, but now Warren with a chance to get through the inning unscathed if he can get through Javier Sanoja.
Every pitcher needs good fortune. That ball was hit right on the nose by Casey, but right at Semien, who old school gets right in front of that ball and cradles it in his breadbasket to get the out.
Sanoja is a threat to bunt for a hit. Vientos walking in from first base a little closer. Beatty playing even with the bag at third. And Sanoja takes a fastball in the corner for a strike. Sanoja's been up 4 times, grounded out all 4. And Sanoja flies one out to center. On comes Ewing. He gets there. Side retired. Austin Warren puts up a 0 in the top of the 10th, and the Mets will have Juan Soto leading off in the bottom of the inning. Another outstanding job by Austin Warren to work around the free runner in the 10th and keep this game tied.
But that whips up, so he can be had. He's given up some walks and some base runners probably. might walk the first hitter.
Mets will use Vidal Brujan to run for Bichette at second base, carrying the winning run. Brujan is perfectly capable of stealing third. You have to bet they're going to walk Soto, right?
I would think.
You got Melendez, Ewing, and Vientos behind him. And it appears as though they're going to at least throw him a pitch.
Yep.
So Soto with a chance to win it with one swing. And he pops it up. Shallow center field. Marcy coming in. And he's got it one away. So they went after Soto. Soto swung at the first pitch, and that's the first out.
Well, it was one of those where they're going to throw a couple of breaking pitches. If one bit and chased one out of the strike zone, if they had gone 2-0, they would have walked him. He swung at the first pitch, a bad slider, and popped it up.
Now MJ Melendez, who had a sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter in the seventh, has got good numbers against Fairbanks, 3 hits and 5 career at bats. And Melendez first pitch swinging fouls off a fastball. MJ Melendez up for the second time in the game. Trying to pick up Brujan from second with the winning run. And he swings and misses at a high fastball, and it's 0-2.
Well, the outfield for the Marlins is very shallow. And I know you want to be shallow, be able to throw the runner out at home, but you also want to be able to catch a medium fly ball.
Fairbanks ahead on the count, 0-2. And Melendez socks one deep right field, right down the line. Stowers to the corner, and it's out of here. MJ Melendez with a walk-off 2-run homer. On an 0-2 pitch. Walk-off RBI for MJ Melendez, and the Mets win it 9-7 in 10.
I mean, his at-bat was huge when he came in to pinch hit and got a sac fly to add to that Mets lead. But this one, he needed it. The team needed it. You could not let this game slip away. What an at-bat. Mets, 4 of their 9 runs were scored on 0-2 pitches. Ewing in the first with a 2-run single and this 2-run home run to walk it off.
Biggest moment as a Met for MJ Melendez. The Mets' second walk-off home run this year. Luis Robert had the other one very early in the season. Fairbanks got ahead of him 0-2 after he had retired Soto, but he couldn't sneak one by Melendez, and MJ kept it fair down the right field line.
Well, he wanted to throw a fastball up and away. It was middle, and you could see the catcher Joe Mack grabs his head because he knows it's out of here, and right down the line, second deck.
Mets win their second straight. They let a 4-run lead get away, but they find the wherewithal in the 10th. Warren puts up a 0, and Melendez ends it with a 2-run homer.
I mean, it's been a tough go for him, hasn't it? Keep plugging, you keep working, good things happen.
And the hero is standing by with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, guys, MJ Melendez just said to me, I'll try to do this, but my voice is a little bit gone. It was an unbelievable celebration at the plate. And right here, saw you looking up at the sky. Just take us through the emotions in your first career walk-off hit.
You know, just trying to put the ball in play right there, just trying to find a way to get the job done. Just trying to be short to the baseball. And first and foremost, all glory to God. You know, I came into today. I came into today Just knowing that there's a possibility to be able to impact the game. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And yeah, crazy things happen unexpectedly.
When you fall behind 0-2, how, if at all, do you change your approach?
When I got to one strike, I honestly tried to be a little bit shorter, chase the fastball up. But in that situation, just trying to put the ball in play and hopefully find a hole, even if it's off the end of the bat, get jammed, trying to put the ball in play and see if something good would happen.
Did you know that was fair off the bat?
No. Last few weeks, I've hooked a lot down the line that haven't stayed fair. So, I mean, that one makes up for all those.
Yeah, it certainly does. Big win for the Mets. Huge hit for MJ Melendez. First career walk-off hit. Congratulations on the moment.
Thank you. Let's go, Mets.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Stephen, congratulations to MJ, losing his voice, but he lost the baseball into the second deck, and that's all that matters. As the Mets win their second straight, as they take it 9-7 over the Marlins in 10, the Mets' fifth walk-off victory this season. Mets baseball on Pix 11 is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. By BritBox, stream the best of British TV. By North Wills Cardiovascular Institute, treating the untreatable. And by Resorts World New York City, live dealer table games now open 24/7 only at Resorts World New York City. Final score in 10, the Mets 9 and the Marlins 7. Game 2 of this series tomorrow on SNY with Christian Scott on the mound. Don't forget, it's Hall of Fame day, so if you're coming, be in your seats by 3:30. First pitch scheduled for 4:10. Extended pregame coverage starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Next Pix game next Friday night when the Mets are in San Diego. Coverage begins that night at 9 o'clock. Coming up next on Pix 11, it's New York Nightcap, and on SNY, it's Mercedes-Benz post-game live. MJ Melendez ends the night for New York as the Mets win it in extras. Now for Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. We'll see you tomorrow over on SNY.